such a good crowd. It shows all the friends and relatives and people have come from all over the U.S. to pay us a visit and share those times and memories. There's a lot of great pictures and poster boards around, so please feel free to enjoy yourself. I'd just like to say a few words. It's a privilege for me to pay tribute today to a very special person, my brother, Victor Craig. A lot of the crowd knows him as Craig, and a lot of people knew him as Victor. He kind of switched names to throw everybody off as life went in, and that's one of his little antagonisms he always had a kick out of doing. We lost our family hero, my oldest brother, and he was a hero to both Mary Lynn and I. And it was very sudden. We were very surprised by how it happened and what happened. He lived life as an endless seeker of knowledge and always looking for a new discovery. And he surrounded himself with family, wonderful friends, Sue, his partner, and had a really full life together. He touched many people during his time here with us, which is evident by so many of you here tonight. Friends, work colleagues, and relatives. The Pitcocks from the central Ohio area, the DePore family originally from northern Ohio, my mother's cousins, or sister's cousins. The DePores, the Fung family that came out here from all over the U.S., which is part of our Marburn Drive grown-up group.
The Mafia.
The Marburn Mafia, they used to call it. Notorious for cocktail parties that rolled from house to house. So we're all here to celebrate Craig's life tonight, and we thank you for being here. As I tried to reach out for words to express my thoughts about Craig, I remembered the many meaningful and valued times he played in mine and Mary Lynn's life. Life just growing up being Craig. He was a unique individual, and then the term was, well, that's Craig, meant a lot to various people in many different ways. So your own experiences will paint those pictures, and I think I see a lot of nodding heads, so he was the same to everybody. Non-denominational, he did the same thing to everybody. He had a lot of fun things like making and burying time capsules throughout the neighborhood, and I think he was probably still doing that up until a couple months ago. He was also good when we were growing up. He was quite a tinkerer, and he loved to take things apart. Electronics, work on friends' cars, tried to fix the TV in the house one time. He liked to do as a kid. He was great at taking it apart, maybe not the best at putting it back together right. But sometimes he would get lucky, and then he was an expert. He scored a lot of points on that. He and I got in a lot of trouble with our parents for just doing kid stuff, which lasted up until we finally got out of the house, so we never quite grew out of that. Now, Craig was my roommate since the day I was born. And we lived in one room, shared our own bedroom for 17 years. And that was like one of the biggest days of my life. Because the antagonism and the Craigisms, kind of wore me out. And my dad wasn't much different either. So I got a double whammy through my whole life. Craig goes away to college. I was happy I had my own room, and he left. He just had a Mustang that was maybe 3 years old. So he took off to go to school in New Mexico, and I got the car, and I got my own room. And let me tell you, life was really, really large at that time. I was pretty happy. But anyway, the summers we would share with our cousins, the DePore family, which was my mother's sister, and her kids were just about the same age, and we would share kids back and forth, and I would go up to northern Ohio and stay for a couple weeks, and vice versa. We would go back and forth, and that was always nice too, because two things. It was the summertime where we were child labor for our parents. We had a really big yard, and it took every Saturday through my summers to cut the grass, rake, trim, work on the flower beds, and at the end of the day we'd work with Mom in the garden, and that was a solid 12 hours of work. And as Craig actually adopted that as going on through life, if you've ever been to his house, he always had an immaculate yard. He became a really great gardener. 12 months a year. The garden is still wailing away right now, all through the winter. Myself, I kind of let that go when I got out of Marburn Drive. And now I live in a condo, I don't own a rake, I don't even have a broom. I don't even have garbage cans. When it's garbage day, I'd pull it out of the bin, I'd go out the hallway, I'd walk 15 feet, and I'd drop it down a chute. So I never picked up, I never really got onto the full-time gardening thing. Craig was an emotional person, or was very emotional supportive in a lot of ways. He never really wanted to hurt anybody's feelings. He was really would work me over, but then always would come back and make sure that I wasn't feeling bad, and I think he was like that with everybody in his life. He had a fascination with anything new, and he loved music and Formula One. In fact, I was just talking to a friend of his, Tom Bocci's here, was showing me Craig's. Those guys would go to Formula One races a long time ago, and showed me some great pictures. You guys would go together. I thought that was really nice. He was pretty good at computers, and that's what got him into his career at AED and everything, and I would always have questions about what to buy and how to work software. He was real good about talking over my head. He specifically would go to a point till he knew I didn't know what he was talking about, and then he would antagonize me because I didn't understand what he meant. And he never stopped doing that. But he loved. He was at the end, he was still a nice person. That's just kind of his humor. He always wore tinted glasses, and I don't know in the final days, but he always had tinted glasses through the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. And he never took them off, whether he needed them or not. And then when he wanted to make his point to get to you, he'd kind of pop them down a little bit on his nose. He'd look at you eyeball to eyeball to make sure you were paying attention. And he was making a real point. So if you really want to get in an argument with him, then you would challenge him at that point, and then after that, forget it. But to go on to, even though we were kids and we lived in the same room, when I got out of high school, I had a Volkswagen bus I bought. And at that time, I really liked to camp out, and the furthest west I ever been was Dayton, Ohio. And that was quite a trek. This was the days when it was, gasoline was like 39 to 35 cents a gallon. So after that, I decided, I knew in high school the last year, I wanted to go and travel and see the West Coast, the Western US. So my brother and myself, we planned a trip, and Tom Meyer, who's here, thank you, Tom. Yes. We went out and we lived in the van for 3 months, and we tried to hit every national park we could. But we went through the Dakotas, the Black Hills, Wyoming, all through Montana, Washington State. We camped out the entire time. It took 3 months, and we never ate in a restaurant at once. Had a little Coleman stove. We camped out, stayed in national and state parks the whole time, and it was really a wonderful trip. And one of the goals was to start at Highway 1, which we got to the state of Washington. We drove Highway 1 and camped out on the ocean all the way down till we got to Southern California. That took like 2 or 3 weeks alone. Camped on the beach, really a wonderful experience. And we didn't get maybe 3 or 4 arguments, which was really pretty spectacular. We were so consumed because, we'd never seen a mountain. I mean, to us, a big mountain was skiing in Mansfield, Ohio. That was like the biggest thing we'd ever seen. And that was really great. I left Columbus in the late 70s, and I knew pretty much growing up that I had to get out and go out and see as much of the world, be a part of something different other than the central Ohio area. And I left in the late 70s. Craig always stayed. And I would visit occasionally over the years to go to a Buckeye game when my mother was alive. I'd visit Mom, and that was really great. But this was home for Craig, and he never left, and he loved his yard and the garden and working here. And obviously made a lot of friends and acquaintances, which is really a testament here to have this many people here tonight. My last visit when he was well was about 1.5 years ago. I came for a Buckeye game, and he reminded me of something that was really nice and very rare from him. He made a really strong point that I showed him something that he never had done before, and he really liked it, and I showed it to him. I like to say I learned him on that one. Yeah, finally took to that. And he reminded me that in the early 80s, he did take a trip out. My mother was alive. She was living in San Diego, and I lived in San Diego. And we had nothing to do, and I said, let's go to a sushi bar. And he goes, a sushi bar? I've never been there before. And I said, okay, well, there's one just down the road. So we go down the road, and we ate sushi and drank sake and beer all night long. And he'd never done that before. And finally got him home. He said he got pretty effed up. He said, thanks for the pleasure. And he became a sushi freak and sake freak ever since. And even up until about 3 months ago, when I go to sushi bars in San Diego and I get a really beautiful cut, I take a picture and I text it to him. And I say, check this out. You can't get this in Columbus. You got to come out here and visit with me, and I'll take you around. And I kind of was rubbing it in, so he quit texting me after I sent him the pictures. That was a victory for me on that. So he was really great with Mom. My mother passed away. My father passed away. Our father passed away about 38, almost 40 years ago. Mom passed away 8 years ago. And the final years of her life really were very difficult. And she had Medicare, was in a nursing home, switching nursing homes, medical bills. And Craig was the guy that was here that took care of everything. And he did a really great job, and I can tell you that I would have been overwhelmed trying to deal with that. But he was on top of everything, took care of it all, and would visit her once or twice a week. He got a place really close to where he and Sue live, and he did a great job. And I was always very proud of him for that when I would come back and have my visits even to the end. And so that was a nice job, Craig. Really, really beautiful. While visiting Craig in Columbus when he first got sick, I was here a month ago in the hospital. A couple things struck me. I mean, obviously he was already in this medically induced state and couldn't communicate with them. But then one thing, it was really nice. Every day I was here for 4 days. Every day I was here at certain points of the day, 2 or 3 people would come in. Workmates that were with him that knew him from where he was working. People that worked with him and knew him from 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Every day more people coming in. And that was really a tribute to what the nice friendships and what a great guy was. And I really appreciated people coming by for that. But we're going to remember you, Craig, and the many people you left behind and whose lives you touched so much. And you may not realize it, but you leave an amazing legacy, and you did a lot of positive things and changed the world, made it different than before you even got here than now that you've left. And I think we all appreciate that. And you left it a better place, and we're all very proud of you. So Craig, we're going to miss you, and we'll always miss you, and we'll always love and admiration. Thank you. Bye.